I said, it's big odds, Fred. He said, it's more like a $15, $16 chance it's a him. He doesn't think it should be single figures, but it's not a 40 to 1 chance. And the other horse, Bass Straight's 50 to 1. Now, he's just turned his form around. He's come back like he's his old self.
I'm with you 100% here. I think the Parnham boys are going to be right in this race. It's a him is a ridiculous price. I've got a 5th in my ratings for this race. I think it's just going to settle nicely. The run over the 14 and 1600 metres has been great. And Fred's really picked this race out. This isn't just going around the railway and then we'll step into this. This is the one that they've targeted. I think they'll get a lovely run from barrier 13. Bass Straight's in career best form. You only have to take a look at the runs that behind Heart Starter, Scales of Justice and even Chocoholic as well. I know it meets Scales of Justice worse in the weights for that length loss, but I think it's going to get a lovely trip as well. The 1800 metres is a bit of a question mark, but they're two horses. If you're playing your first fours, you definitely have in there to try and get some value.
What about Bob Peters playing down Perfect Reflection? He's being negative.
He is, but he's the master of it, and we're just seeing why. I mean, we've just seen Antique Dream come out and win, Silver Stream come out and win. He's very good at just letting the horses do the talking for him, and that's what I think we all like about Bob. He doesn't spruik them. He lets the horses do the talk, and we've seen that with her in the past. But she's not the only one that can win this race. As we've been talking about the second stringers, I know that Mark's very keen on disposition here with the blinkers going on. Heart Starter, Peter Hall jumps on there. Even Neverland, I know the prep hasn't been great, but she's a proven class animal.
Have a look at this unique setting here at Ascot where the horses leave the stabling area, which is up close to the 1800 metre start. They walk out onto the course proper and down into the mounting yard. I don't think it happens anywhere else in Australia. I'm sure it doesn't happen anywhere else in Australia. And the jockeys, who, where number 4 is their Kawi, just in a bit underneath that tin shed, that's where the jockeys come out and they make their walk down towards the mounting enclosure as well.
And some of them enjoy it, some of them don't like it, depending how they go on the result. I can tell you I've seen William Pike have about 400 selfies trying to go back up to that room, especially when it's race 8 as well. But it is unique, and thankfully the Perth public's been really respectful to the horses, the strappers, and also the jockeys, so we've been able to continue that going along, and I think it's great for everybody out on course.
It's a him as a previous winner in 2013, and we've got last year's winner, Perfect Reflection, as a 3-year-old filly. She carried 50 kilos. She's got to carry 56.5 under the weight for age scheme this year as she turns 4. So it's all in readiness. The Group 1 weight for age Kingston Town Classic, named after one of our greats, one of the first inductees into the Australian Racing Hall of Fame. He was one of the 5 big ones to go in at the very first inauguration. As they come down, there's Dougie White. He's won a railway. He's won a Kingston Town on Moriarty. That was his first Group 1 win here in Australia. He's picked up another one 2 weeks ago on Scales of Justice in the railway. He's looking for his 3rd Group 1 win here this afternoon and trying to go back-to-back. It's no mean feat, a railway Kingston Town double. It's been done, but it's rare.
The last horse to do it, Sniper's Bullet in 2009, and we all know how tough it is. And look at Douglas White. With all due respect to Chris Waller and connections, I think Scales of Justice is a little bit better than Moriarty and a bit more scope too. So I'm very excited to see what he can bring. If he wins this, he's a genuine star.
The ones that have done the double are Better Loosen Up, Old Comrade, Modem and Sniper's Bullet. And of course, Lucky Ray did it years apart. And he won a railway on protest too.
An interesting protest.
An interesting protest. You know what? I've got through the whole carnival without mentioning. Why would we bring it up?
That was remarkable too, that win.
Yeah, well, wasn't it? What? Now, let's go and have a look at these runners as they parade. We're without Good Project, who has been scratched. Here's the grey, the 2013 Kingston Town winner. It's a him for Fred Kersley and Stephen Parnham. Stephen Parnham's looking for his 4th win in this race.
As you mentioned, as Fred Kersley's mentioned, as numerous people have mentioned, this horse was not a $51 chance. It's not a $41 chance. It's now into $31, and they still have that wrong. The run in the 1400 metres in the Northerly, beaten 2.8 lengths by Line of My Veins, was very good. The run in the Northern Cup was exceptional behind Chocoholic as well. Now they stretch out to the 1800 metres. 3 attempts at the track and distance, a victory and a second. The concussion plates go on the feet as well, but I really think It's a Him can go close in this race.
Now, Stratum Star, 3 weeks since it ran in the Sandown Stakes, but since Stratum Star has been here in Perth, has had 2 trials at Larkhill. They were both very good.
I don't think we've seen anything like that before. As you said, raced to the 12th of November in a Group 3 race and finished 2nd. Then, as you said, has come and trialled back-to-back weeks. The trials have been good. Damien Lane did the first one. William Pint did the second. The horse is clearly fit enough, ready to go. Love that the horse has won over 2,000 metres before.
Now, they've taken no chances with Kawi. Michael Walker is already behind the gates. He mounted up early and he's over there. First appearance in Perth, he played played up. Second appearance, he had a couple of handlers. He wasn't too bad, but today they're ready to go, taking no chances. He's already there.
I think that probably just shows what Alan Sharrock is talking about, how he's learnt with his time in Perth. He expected just to rock up here and win the first race and get the job done, and he was very open about saying that the barrier draw, but they've learnt the entire way through, and now they're changing things up. They drew perfectly in barrier 4. Michael Walker's taken the week off because of his injuries to ensure that he was right here. They get a 5 kilo swing on Scales of Justice as well. They're 1 from 1 at 1800 metres. I just think so much points now towards the New Zealand galloper, the gelding by Savabeel, and I think he can win this race.
Okay, well, it's almost, 10 o'clock in New Zealand, so hello to everyone who's watching it on trackside over there. Good luck with Kawi. Disposition, Grant and Alan Williams, Glenn Smith and the Peters colours.
Blinkers go on here. Barrier rate 59 kilos, gets a 2.5 kilo swing on Scales of Justice. Go to the race before that, was only beaten a half length by Perfect Reflection in the Group 2 Lastia. Disposition is at a big price of $16 at the moment. All day we've been seeing the Cerise and White second stringers get the job done. There is no reason why Disposition can't continue that. Looks really well in the yard.
Here's he or she from the Hayes Dabenig yard, back home, and his second run back in the West.
Chris Parnham already had a winner, and he mentioned this horse just has to improve a little bit from what we've seen so far. Chris actually jumps off Heart Starter to ride he or she. They're drawn wide. They get a 2 kilo swing on Scales of Justice for a 5.5 length defeat. Barrier is a bit of a concern as well. Hasn't won any further than 1,600 metres in his career.
Dubai Escapade, the bolter, $151.
Well, you go from Hiorshi, who hasn't won any further than 1,600 metres. You look at Dubai Escapade, which has won over 3,200 metres, winning the WA Cup. This horse is heading towards the Perth Cup and probably still needs further distance in the 1,800 metres. Ben Kennedy takes a ride. Just doesn't really look suited in a race like this.
Neville Parnham went back-to-back with Playing God. He's got Bass Straight here. A couple of great seconds in the Peters and the Carbine Club. Brad Parnham rides. Can he do it?
Well, like It's a Him, you mentioned, this price is ridiculous at the $51. Look, I'm not sure if it can win the race, but I do expect a really good performance. Beaten 3 lengths by Heartstarter, beaten a length by Scales of Justice, and a half length by Chocoholic. I think the step up from 14 to 1,800 metres is ideal. Brad Parnham takes the ride here in career best form.
Another local tradesman, $10 out to 12.
Brilliant run in the Lastia as well, beaten 0.8 lengths by Perfect Reflection. Actually meets Scales of Justice worse in the weights here. Goes up from 53 to 59 kilos as well. So for mine, this probably isn't the race that it was looking to target, but it certainly has improved this 5-year-old and has to be considered as one of the horses to put in your top 4.
Here is Scales of Justice attempting the Railway Kingston Town double, or Lindsay Smith, Douglas White.
I think a lot of people, when looking at this horse, the concern has been the step up in weight from 53 kilos to 58.5. But the more and more you go into this race, the more Scales of Justice looks suited. Good Project coming out was the best result for this galloper all week. They jump from barrier 15. They've got time from the 1,800 metres to roll across. And the simple fact is, you've got Douglas White. This horse can definitely go back-to-back.
Vanbrugh set specifically for this race. The stablemate who joins McIntosh here, who went round in the Railway, but he's here off the back of a McKinnon. 12 into 11, back out to 12. Ben Mellum sticks.
This reminds me of Born Blue last week. You have told us at Vanbrugh so many times the Wink form line's going into this race, and I'm completely with you. I think it's the best chance from the Eastern State gallopers. The blinkers are on here. The form lines around Winks are sensational. Even the run behind Awesome Rocket last start in the Group 1 McKinnon, as you mentioned, I thought was really good. Has won over the 1,800 metres, has won twice over the 2,000 metres, so the journey isn't going to be an issue. Ben Mellum, he rides at Ascot so well as well. I think it's a serious contender, and I'm still surprised you're getting $11.
McIntosh is being kept very safe here. Hasn't moved from $8.
Damien Oliver has been so honest with us in these interviews, just mentioning this horse does have to improve. I thought it had every chance to beat Scales of Justice last start and just wasn't able to. Now, was beaten 3.8 lengths in the end, gets a 1 kilo swing. Will appreciate jumping from barrier 9. Won't have to do as much work early, but like I said, I'm leaning towards Vanbrugh as the best wallet chance in this race.
Heart Starter, Peter Hall.
Black Cap, simple as that.
Black
That's
Cap.
what we've seen so far. Antique Dream and Silverstream, they've worn the Black Cap and they've been able to upset the favourites. Can Heart Starter do that job today? Peter Hall takes a ride here. He jumps off Neverland. This horse is 1 from 1 over the 1,800 metres, was beaten 2.8 lengths by Scales of Justice in the Group 3 Peters, and actually gets a 3 kilo swing on the galloper there. So I don't think it's without a crazy chance.
Okay, here is another one. Neverland, who's already going up the searching Swan River side. Neverland carries the yellow cap.
Well, like I said, with her going into the Railway, you just don't rule out good quality mares, and now that's even more proven from Antique Dream and Silverstream today. The Winkers go on. Jared Noski takes a ride, gets a 1.5 kilo swing on Scales of Justice from the Railway, gets a 4 kilo swing on Scales of Justice for the Group 3 Peters. From barrier 3, she get a really nice run. If she can bring the turn of foot that we've seen over these extra distances, I think she can still play a part.
All right, we'll get back to the stablemate who's with Neverland in a moment. Here's Tick Tick Bloom.
Hasn't won for 632 days, was beaten 11 lengths in the Railway, gets a 1.5 kilo swing, is 1 from 1 at the 1800 metres, but this mare by Viscount would need to improve dramatically.
Okay, and Perfect Reflection, who carries the blue cap, she's been given a nice warm-up. They all have. They've gone up the side. They'll come back around to the winning post, adjacent to the winning post, the 1800 start. What do you make of Perfect Reflection, who is holding on to favouritism?
Winner last year, carrying the 50 kilos, goes up the 6.5 now to the 56.5. Was beaten 3 lengths by Scales of Justice in the Group 1 Railway Stakes, but gets a 3.5 kilo swing. What I like with Perfect Reflection going into this race, Greg, we talked about William Pike a little bit earlier. He will be absolutely fuming with his ride on Cosmic Storm that he made to have such a long sustained effort. He'll be wanting to get one back here, and this could be the race.
Okay, let's go to Mark Olmos, who's with Bob Peters, who has 4 runners lining up here in the Kingston Town.
Yes, Bob, 4 runners. We'll start off with disposition here. The blinkers go back on. You were telling me the last time he had blinkers on was when he was a 3-year-old running second in this race.
Yes, this is just a throw to the stumps to do something a bit different to see if he can improve.
Now on to Heartstarter. This is, of course, the half to Real Love. How did you see his run in the Railway?
I was a bit disappointed. He seemed to stop, and he wasn't finishing on. But hopefully this race has run differently.
Neverland, blinkers go off, winkers go on. Can she find her best? A bit like Silver Stream, I guess, in the previous. Looked to be out of form. Can Neverland find form here?
Well, hopefully she can. She ran well last year in this race, so hopefully she can do it again.
You just saw one of yours go down to post. Anything catch your eye there?
Seemed to be going quite well, and Perfect Reflection's coming now, but she's just cantering along with the clerk of the course.
And of the best of your 4, Bob?
Oh, you'd have to be Perfect Reflection and followed by Disposition, I would think.
Bob, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck.
Thank you, but I might be wrong based on the last 2 races. Thank you.
He's cagey, isn't he, Bob Peters?
Well, he's put the caveat on there. I might be wrong. He's owned the last 2 winners, and they've both been at big odds. There is Perfect Reflection going down with the clerk of the course. 420 out to 460. Now, in market order, Perfect Reflection. These are the on-track prices. 420 out to 460. Now, number 10, I'll give you next. Scales of Justice, 460 out to 550. Number 4, Kawi, 5 out to 550. Back into 5. Now, back out to 550. Then we go to 12, Macintosh. $8 hasn't moved on track. Just stayed at $8 all the way through. Then 3, Stratum Star, 12 out to 13, back into 10. There's money for Stratum Star. Darren Weir's here today, and that's the look of the Kingston Town. Now, Chris Waller has made his way to Perth. I think it might be his first trip. He's with Mark.
Yes, of course, Chris Waller. 2 runners now with the Scratch of Good project. Firstly, he's all okay?
Yeah, everything's fine with him. It's just a foot abscess, and you just can't take risks with good horses or any horse when people are putting money on them, obviously. So just a 50-50 call, we decided not to run him.
Now, Macintosh ran 4th in the Railway. How's he come through the run? It was a tough run sitting at 2nd.
Yeah, he's come through it okay. I didn't say his form's probably as good as it was for the first part of the spring in the Epsom. His run was fantastic. He comes so close to winning it, and his form obviously in Queensland prior to that was very good. So he's as good as we can have him. It's the end of a long road, and hopefully he gets a bit of luck from the draw today.
Now, Vanbrugh, of course, the Champions Stakes winner from last year. The blinkers go on. He is an entire, and he's had the 2 runs of 2,000 metres. How big of an advantage do you see that?
Oh, I think it's a big plus. He's won a Group 2 race or a Group 3 race in Sydney over 1,800, and his form 1,800 and 2,000 is clearly better than a mile. So with the blinkers going on, I think he'll be sharp enough, and don't worry about the 4 weeks between runs. I think it's anything that's done him the world of good.
Thank you, Chris Waller. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, they're about to load in here. Late mail, Adam McGrath.
I'm going to go with number 4 on top, Kawi, from 16, Perfect Reflection, 11, Vanbrugh, and 10, Scales of Justice. 4, 16, 11, 10, Greg.
Okay, they're loading in well here. This is the Group 1. Let's get to Darren McCauley for the Peters Investments Kingston Town Stakes.
Jungle Dawn on Premedale on this day a few years ago for the Harvey boys. Now Bass Strait, Macintosh are in the gates, as well as Heartstarter and It's a Him, who won the race as a 3-year-old. There's Hiyoshi going up in the fluoro colours drawn out there in barrier 13. Tick Tick Bloom about to make her way up towards the gates, and she presented terrific. There's Vanbrugh now joining the line as well. And so Tradesman to come up with Disposition. She up in the fluoro colours, drawn out there in barrier 13. Tick Tick Bloom about to make her way up towards the gates, and she presented terrific. There's Vanbrugh now joining the line as well. And so Tradesman to come up with Disposition. Scales of Justice. He'll start from the outside alley. Disposition goes in. Douglas White brings Scales of Justice, the runaway stakes winner, up into stall 15, and so it'll be Tradesman with Dwayne Dunn aboard that completes the line. They're almost set. The light flashing. They're ready for the Kingston Town. Gates open. Racing, Stratum Star was the first to leave. Bass Straight beaten for pace. Hiyorshi's going to cut to the back of the field with Tick Tick Bloom and It's a Him. And out there deep near the middle of the course, Scales of Justice sneaking over for White in the early part as Heart Starter, and McIntosh went forward as well. So McIntosh might find himself in front. He's got about a next Stratum Star. Heart Starter, Scales of Justice gliding over now at the 1400, turning into the back straight. They're being followed by Perfect Reflection. Down on the inside of Disposition, Tradesman went forward 3 deep early in the early stages of the race. 2 lengths behind those, Neverland and the New Zealander Cowie. And then a further 2 lengths to Vanbrugh from on the rail, Dubai Destination. A length and a half to Bass Straight, Hiyorshi, It's a Him, and last of all is Tick Tick Bloom at the 1,000 metres. McIntosh held out Scales of Justice and controlled the pace. He arched his neck up. It's McIntosh, 3/4 on the railway stakes winner, Scales of Justice, 3 deep with No Luck Tradesman. In between horses then came Heart Starter down on the rails to Stratum Star, who's in 5th place. 3/4 of a length Disposition. Last year's winner Perfect Reflection hugging the fence. 3/4 then a length away on the outside came Cowie. Neverland is next, and then came Vanbrugh. Down on the rails behind them, Dubai Destination back with Bass Straight. They're followed by Hiyorshi, It's a Him, and Tick Tick Bloom is last. 450 left to go, and McIntosh in front. Scales of Justice now gets on level terms at the top of the home straight. They balance up, and Scales of Justice got about a half to 3/4 of a length as White went for home. Stratum Star's a length and a half away from Perfect Reflection. Here comes Cowie winding up. White draws the whip. Scales of Justice at the 100. Stratum Star pegging it back. Scales of Justice, Stratum Star, Stratum Star, Scales of Justice, Scales of Justice, Stratum Star, Stratum Star. Stratum Star and Scales of Justice went to the line. Stratum Star's 1.5 head. Scales of Justice second, 3 lengths behind them. Perfect Reflection from Cowie. In behind them next to by Escapade, followed home then on the outside, next of all by Neverland and It's a Him, Tradesman. Then Vanbrugh. They were followed by Heart Starter. McIntosh had dropped right out with Disposition and Tick Tick Bloom. Then came Bass Straight, who's amongst the last of them home, and Hiyorshi brought up the tail. Tight go.
It looks as though Stratum Star will get the bob in. Here's Dougie White giving Scales of Justice one more crack. He sees the other one coming. He didn't really give it that last lunge there, Dougie, did he? And Stratum Star has lunged and has got the decision. The number is in the frame. Stratum Star, number 3. Darren Weir wins a Group 1 in Perth. Might be his first winner in Perth. And what a moment for the local boy. A Group 1 in his hometown. Damien Lane, stand up.
An amazing performance, wasn't it? Darren Weir coming to town, Damien Lane getting the job done. It looked as though that Douglas White actually just misjudged that line, which I'll be intrigued to see that photo. I thought that live, and that appeared it there as well, but what a great performance.
Well, Damien Lane, a Perth boy, will be tickled pink, and here he is with Lucy Warwick.
Did you think you got it on the line?
I was quietly...
Okay, we're just having trouble picking up Lucy there, so we'll get to Damien in just a moment. Darren Weir is here. He's on his way down, and he wins the Group 1 Kingston Town with Stratum Star. Well, it has been an obvious plan with this horse. He went round in the Gilgai, the Moonga, the Kentala, and then one more in the Sandown Stakes, and that was only 3 weeks ago. Darren Weir set him west, and he set him up with 2 trials at Lark Hill on the 21st of November and then a week later on the 28th to have him spot on for this. And I'm tipping those 2 trials were a big factor when he lunged at Scales of Justice and gets the money. Just watching Dougie again. He just stopped for that stride. He misjudged the line, it looked. Just looking at that, he misjudged the line, and Stratum Star has picked him up and got the money. All right, well, Darren Weir's going to eventually get down and join us, but Damien Lane, the Bunbury boy, has done it and won a Group 1, and he's done it in his home state here in Western Australia at the headquarters of racing. Stratum Star, Darren Weir and Damien Lane. We'll get to Darren Weir in just a moment. Damien's coming back. Stratum Star first, $11.20 and $3. Scales of Justice denied the double of winning the Railway in the Kingston Town, has paid $2 the place, and 16 Perfect Reflection, $1.70, who was searching for back-to-back Kingston Town. She's run 3rd. Big moment for Damien Lane coming back with a stack of owners, and his biggest moment in the sport to do it here at Ascot, and for champion trainer Darren Weir, who takes all before him in Victoria, but he's done it here in the West. 4th home was Kawi. 5th home was Neverland. They've run 149.49. It was a nose by 3 1/4 lengths, the winning margin. All right, let's go to Adam now. He's about to catch up with Darren Weir.
He's certainly got very happy down here with the team is Darren Weir. Darren, a clear ploy to come here to the West and get the job done, and now you've been able to salute her. What a close finish and what an amazing performance.
That was good, yeah.
Tell us about the tactics of going into this race. Of course, the last race was on the 12th of November, but you went the double trial.
Yeah, went the double trial. I come and had a look at him last week, and I thought he looked a bit big underneath. So I said to Jared, we better be giving him a bit of work on Monday. So he had a good trial, and Willie Pike rode him, and he gave him a good hit out. So thanks to everyone involved.
Clearly improved during the week.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got to have the facilities to be able to train these horses, and a big thanks, unfortunately we bet Lindsay's horse, but Lindsay was great enough to let us use his track. We've had a half a dozen hit outs out there, so obviously it brings them on, and obviously to everyone else involved.
What we've started to see with this Tab Touch Master Series is that the teams from over east have actually been able to get a ploy and make this part of their scheduling, and that's what it seems to be here. This isn't an afterthought anymore. This was a deliberate plan to come here and win this race.
It was a deliberate plan, and obviously you can't make these plans happen without people allowing them to stay at your place and that sort of thing. So a big thank you to Colin Brown and his wife and all his staff there, and good mate here, Brett. So you can't get these things done without the help of everyone like that. They made us feel welcome, and they've helped us in every way. So all those things are really important when you're taking horses away for the first time, not knowing where you're going. So big help to all of them was great.
Congratulations, mate. Off to you, Greg.
All right, Damien Lane, you've done it at home in WA, a big Group 1.
Yeah, very satisfying. Gives me great confidence when a trainer like Darren Weir puts you on, and a good mate Tyson was over here looking after him, and he was very happy with him, and that gave me good confidence.
An inside gate, and you were just going to be there, where you wanted to be.
Yeah, that was the key. Soft run from barrier 1, and he just had the last crack at him, and it all worked out perfect.
What about up alongside Douglas White in that last little bit? Do you think you were going to get him?
Yeah, I thought I had him easy at the top of the straight, but gee, about at 100 I didn't know. It was Scale of Justice kept kicking really strong and made a real good fight of it.
I bet you when you started over here, you dreamed of these sort of days.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way from where I started from. I probably didn't even think I'd get to here, to be honest. So very satisfying.
Well done.
Thank you.
Damien Lane, the winning rider after winning the Kingston Town. So it's 3 Stratum Star, 10 Scales of Justice, 16 Perfect Reflection. That's the way they've finished in the Kingston Town, the Group 1, Race 8 here at Ascot.
OK, thank you, Greg. Back for more shortly, but there is the result. $11.20 and $3. Scales of Justice, $2 and Perfect Reflection, returning $1.70. 3, 10, 16 and 4 on toodays Group 1 at Ascot. Now, Toowoomba, we're coming up to the